Are we ready to go or? Okay, thanks for joining us. I know that sustainability is on everybody's mind, and we heard from our previous speaker, and it's an important thing because it's a growing population, and the amount of land available is also shrinking. So sustainability should be on everyone's mind. To begin our panel discussion, I think these people here are, have a lot of experience in construction and in different aspects of construction, residential, commercial, and also as a developer of large communities. So I want to start with what are the obstacles to sustainability, and how should government and the communities alleviate those obstacles? Go ahead, Uday.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Just to discuss about the obstacles, we have two challenges. Now clear? To discuss on the obstacles, we have two major factors. One is what we expect from the government. Other one, how we are going to convince my client, that is the end user of that particular property. So with the end user, the challenge is to build a green building. The capital cost, the budget will be a little bit more. We need to convince them how he is going to get benefit. That is one challenge, which we are able to come across that one. Next is from government, what we expect, basically if you consider in India and other countries, the recycling of waste material, that is not done in a very extensive way. If you see other countries like Europe and all, they have a exclusive yard that all the concrete debris, everything can be transported, we can make it, we can reuse. So compared to other countries, we feel the recycling of the material, so little that we need to improve a lot. But still, the steel, all those things, we would be able to recycle it 100%. So those, the help we require from the government at this point of time. That's it from my point of view.
Yeah. And how do you feel about it from a residential point of view? How should government help you?
So India, in the Indian government in the last few years have been really encouraging this green building and sustainability. They have some policies framed, but the major obstacle that we face is the cost, the input cost that takes, because simultaneously the government is promoting Make in India products, and the import of technical equipments like solar panels, etc., are really high, the cost-wise. So I think that intervention with the Federation, CREDAI, or BAI can help optimize that. Also, like Uday rightly said, that you have to educate your client of how, the functioning of the equipments, or how beneficial are these equipments in the recycling of water, or maybe recycling of the garbage in lieu of producing gases, which can be used for cooking or any other purpose. So they have the policies. It's quite encouraging at the residential level, but I think the cost is what I feel is the major obstacle, or the
So the policies are there, but you need to get people to absorb the cost of implementing those policies.
Yeah.
Right. Now, how do you feel about Egypt? And I know you're a large developer there.
Yeah, we're mainly working on consultancy. So we're in direct contact with both developers and end users. So from the perspective, we all know that building sustainable greenhouses is... So we all know that building green, sustainable houses would, futuristic-wise, will help us all. What's the problem here? As Mr. Amir was saying, it's the initial cost or investment that the developer has to put in the building itself to have it as green as possible, like which percentage till 100% green from energy and the recycled trash, all of that. And for the developers, they're always looking for, if I'm going to be having this initial investment and this initial cost, I will have to increase the unit price, whether residential, commercial, whichever. If it's not like a policy or a regulation for every developer in the region, now competitive-wise, he's not going to be selling his units. So it has to come from multiple directions. And first of them is like educating the end user or the client of the importance of having a green unit, which is whichever it is, residential or commercial, and that it's for the better of his children, grandchildren, and the coming generations. When the end client knows this, when you educate your end client and he has the value for it, now he can buy or he can see the value and buy something which is more expensive than the usual for the sake of the environment. At the same time, with the government leading by example, having the governmental institutions meet accordingly, also having some regulations for the developers, having it gradually, percentage gradually, to have their buildings green, and having some facilitation maybe for like, I don't know, customs. Maybe they can apply less customs on the solar panels. They can, whichever facilitations they can do for developers to help them with the cost. Now we can go somewhere.
So what I'm hearing is you want more policies.
It's not a policy, it's just education. We're talking about like educating the clients, having some campaigns to tell them why is it important to have your unit green. This way they can appreciate and they can value, pay more for the sake of the future, for tomorrow, not just for today.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I do, from my perspective, I grew up in a small village down in Tamil Nadu in India. And I would have liked to see like banning of plastic bags and making streets where there's no huge buses. As a personal peeve, I would like them to stop honking their horns, but I don't think that's going to happen. But it's worth wishing for. Part of sustainability is also your hearing, so I think we need to pay attention to that. Now, all of these things brings us to a question like, there are weather challenges, both in Egypt and India, and weather has an impact on energy generation and consumption. How do you balance that against the actual green construction or sustainability? Uday, you want to take that?
Yeah. So, of course, we have a lot of impact on these weather changes. So now, majority of IT campus, we are using rooftop solar panels. So definitely that renewable energy we are using. So that is it will really help us. So the other thing, the natural resource, how I am going to protect the natural resource, that we need to take care. And due to the weather change, sometime we will take it as a positive also. So how I am going to recharge the rainwater, how I am going to collect it, and how I am going to reuse it. All those things, definitely we have given a lot of thought into that. So definitely we have taken care to some extent.
I know you are into commercial buildings. How do you apply that to large buildings where like maybe thousands of people work?
Yeah, we are managing, no doubt about it. So mainly the weather changes, the facade system, the facade system, the way we design. So how the end user can get benefit out of it. So normally we use, before designing, we will do the clear sun path analysis. So accordingly, maximum we will try to orient the building such a way that the weather changes impact should be less on my building, the heat generation, so that it will lead into the less consumption of AC system inside that building. All those things, we do a lot of analysis. So that will help us. We have some challenges. Large campus, when we are developing a 100-acre campus, yeah, it will be possible to orient the building the way we want. If it is small, yes, we should manage. So those design itself, the study, the way we make the study, the design like the good facade system, more renewable energy, how I am going to take care of the rainwater harvesting and the rainwater recharge bit. Those things we are implementing. That definitely we are into This we started implementing it 10 years back only. Further, we are moving ahead.
Thank you. And now, how do you translate that to more residential buildings? I know you were talking about open spaces and building it.
So, like Uday said, I feel that as developers, we are also responsible to a larger extent to the climatical changes conditions that we are seeing today, or global warming, you can say. So the first thing is what, as a residential developer, we are practicing as a group, as a team, is we sit down with our architects. The first and foremost is, we do not want to use the complete FSI, but what we want to give our clients is natural air, cross ventilation, landscaping, whatever material we use, it has to be eco-friendly. It has to be more kind of a recycled material. Maybe it's recycled wood which we are using for a door frame or manufacturing of a door. Maybe floorings, open, for cross ventilation. We make it a point that there is a vertical and a horizontal way where the natural air rotation is happening, and the consumption of electricity via means of an air conditioner or any mechanical ventilation is reduced. Also, we are trying and using more resources, natural resources like sunlight in giving solar panels, or of course, it takes a lot of energy and time to develop or design such a product. I'm sure some architects and consultants here would agree to it. But it is time for us to, wake up and see that whatever material or natural resources we've damaged earlier, we further don't damage them, and we keep recycling and using the products. That's what I mean.
Right. And talking about collateral damage, how do you actually generate energy and stuff with as less damage as possible?
Actually, what I wanted to point out is that how to use like the weather or the climate situation in each country. Like, I will give an example of what I saw in Egypt, where we are in the Red Sea. We already having the problem. We have the problem. We have the solution. Most of the time, the Red Sea is a sunny place. You have the sun all year round. So most of the energy that you're going to be using during summertime is for cooling. So having that much of the sun, it's a great energy source for solar panel ideas. And if, you have it already, you can use it. Also, it's a windy destination. And sometimes wind get to 40 knots. So now they're applying the windmills, lots of windmills to generate electricity in the Red Sea area. So that's how they are trying to use whichever was the problem to be the solution now.
Thank you. And talking about solar panels, I wanted to share a little bit of a story, personal story. I was traveling up north in India to a mountain resort, and I had checked into a small hotel, like a B&B, bed and breakfast thing. And he said, oh, we have hot water that's powered by solar. And I said, no, that's great. And went to bed, woke up the next morning around 6:30 a.m., and I turned on the tap, and there was no hot water. And so I went down and asked him, like, what's happening? And he looked at me quizzically and said, sir, it's 6:30 a.m., sun just came out. By 11 a.m., you'll have hot water, no problem. And I said, wow, And then this is the interesting part of the story. Then he turned around and handed me a portable water heater and said, if you want, you can heat up the water yourself. It takes 5 minutes. And I asked him, like, how did you plan this? And he said, most of my guests, they go get muddy and dirty and then come back and have a shower. But if you want to have a shower and then go get muddy and dirty, that's also okay with us. We provide for it. So that's the compromise that he has made. And in terms of sustainability, he is, thought about, understands his customers, and provided the thing where he wanted it. So, and I thought that was a great example. And then when I went back to California, I went to Big Sur, which is south of San Francisco, and I had to run the water for 20 minutes before I got hot water because all the water in the tubes had cooled down. They had centralized heating plant like half a kilometer away. So that's an example of how we should really think about where we want to conserve that and how new technology can help, or even different technology, which kind of brings us to the next topic, which I will pass on to you. What kind of new technologies are you seeing that will help in sustainability?
Well, actually, there are lots of new technologies that help in sustainability and having like a best use of energy. From like lighting, like the LED lights, applying most of the countries now are applying it. It produces the same amount of illumination while consuming a lot less. And furthermore, there's more detailed and complex solutions for like resorts that need a big body of water for recreational swimming and having like a feature. I've seen a really nice technology from a company called Crystal Lagoons. They're from Chile. Actually, they're using technology that's relying on ultrasonic filtration system that only requires 2% of the usual energy to filtrate the water. So now you're having crystal clear water for usage all of the time, and for only 2% of the conventional filtration cost. That's a perfect example of having a sustainable solution with less cost on the long run and the short run too.
And Amaya, you were talking about reusing materials and reusing from other places. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, right. Our company, we generally use a lot of concrete material, which is 50% of cement and maybe 50% of fly ash. There's this company, JSW. I'm sure everybody's aware of Jindal Steels, yeah. So they have this concrete that they've come up with, which is 50% of cement and 50% of fly ash. Fly ash is taken out from all the steel industry or any manufacturing industry, which are burning coal, etc. So what they have done is according to the grade of the concrete, the content of fly ash and cement would vary. By doing this, your cement consumption and water consumption for curing and etc. is reduced to nearly about by 15 to 30% depending on the strength and the grade of the concrete. So that is one that we are practicing. Second we are practicing is, generally we used to have a lot of natural granite and marbles for our claddings, decoration purposes, etc. We identified some companies in Rajkot which are dealing with, recycling of these wastage. What they do is they collect all the waste from the marble quarries or maybe construction sites, etc. So they recycle it and make a vitrified tile out of it, which is similar and cost effective also. It gives a feel of a marble or granite. You can polish it, you can carve it, whatever you would like to do. So by doing this, again, you're saving on the quarries being allotted, etc. Because the consumption goes down by natural material, and you're using something which is artificial, right? Third, what we are doing is we are using more of recycled wood. So you see in India, we see a lot of redevelopment happening. So a lot of wood, old days you used to have those wooden houses with a lot of wood structures inside. So whatever wood comes out is, again, there's a company in Bangalore and in Surat, which generally takes up this wood, they recycle it, they treat it in a better way. So they give you those door frames, they manufacture doors out of it, which in turn, they treat it in such a way that they are fire retardant as well. So again, you are helping cutting down of trees or plantations. The fourth and foremost that we are practicing is we are using more of recycled rubber flooring. Generally, you see them used in gyms or maybe outdoor parks, etc., where children are playing. So now there are companies like Armstrong, Johnsonite, etc., which have come out with beautiful finishes. They give you recycled rubber flooring in the tile format with marble finish, wood finish. The feel and factor is the same as you get again. So we are since after the COVID, we realized that how much we need these natural resources. So we've started using these kind of products. Also, when we talk to our MEP consultants, we make it a point that the water consumption, because if a person standing under the shower would waste a lot of water, right? So there are companies who have come out with better shower where there are aerators which give you the same feel and pressure, but so
Yeah,
water
I mean,
consumption is.
That's a great thing, talking about construction material, reusing rubber. I know you talked about sand in the past.
Yeah.
Do you-
First, I would like to touch upon the technology, how it is helping in a large IT campus. For example, we just, once the facility is ready, we just implemented the building management system, which has control with the command center, which control the entire performance of the building. So we have everywhere. For example, to maintain the good indoor air quality, we have a COT sensor. So based on the occupancy level, then only the fresh air pumping will start. That will take care. It is based on the requirement. Same way, let it be the lighting, let it be the AC requirement. And even the AC also, just we will install a lot of the technology driven, the VFD, the variable frequency, all those things, we just install it. It will monitor when there is an occupancy level increase, when there is a need of air condition, then only the next pump will switch on. So that way we can save a lot of energy. That is one. And number two, mainly when we interact with, normally when we want to build a sustainable building, we interact with the end users, right, from their CEO to their employees. What is the requirement? What they are looking for? No one wants to sit in the office 8 hours work, so they are just looking around. So the way we will make it the more collaboration area, like wherever the evening time we'll get the shadow, there we have the nice landscape, provide some Wi-Fi system, some laptop. People can come with laptop, they can sit outside 1 or 2 hours, they can. That way you can just, the AC load, light load inside the building. This is all based on our experience, which we made the analysis. The data will help us a lot. So how I'm going to do it? That is being monitored, and the natural ventilation. And mainly now the sewage treatment plant and all. If the large campus, if I am putting 500 KLD, 600 KLD, we made it modular system based on the occupancy. Now due to the pandemic, the full occupancy is not at all there. They got increased from 10, 15, 20. If you put the modular system, once it achieve 50 KLD, only those portion, the pump, all those things will work. And in order to run the 500 KLD when the input is only 50 KLD. Right. So all those things, it will help us. That way we really established and incorporated so many, this is the technology is concerned. Then to add to my point on the natural resource. Now India, the river sands are totally banned. From last 15 years, we are using manufactured sand only for the concreting or all the masonry work, all those things that we are taking care. So it is on fly ash, which is the byproduct of the thermal power plant and the steel plant, that is being replaced in concrete. Now it is allowed 20 to 30% of fly ash can be replaced with the cement. And how we are going to reduce the water consumption. Normally the maximum water go in the curing of concrete. Now everywhere, all the vertical members, we are using the curing compound, which, I need not use the more water. All those things we have implemented, it works out really. Whatever we can, give back to the society, definitely we are taking care.
That's a lot of information. And one of the challenges is to do all of this without hurting the environment. But before that, I wanted to take an opportunity to ask the audience if there's any specific questions you have that maybe these experts can answer.
I want to ask the panel of, especially the construction experts, and when you pitch to developers, how, and as you were saying, the cost maybe it's a little bit more costly. Uh, how do you pitch it? Is it a case that maybe down the line it saves up energy, it saves up cost? Like, how do you pitch it to developers who basically are looking for the bottom line as the most important thing?
So if I repeat your question, you're saying how do you uh, roll back the cost of these efficiencies back to the buyers? Is that what you're asking?
No, like to the developers,
Yeah.
the material of like the green initiatives are more expensive, correct? Usually, especially in the beginning, cost. So when I'm speaking to the developers or when you're pitching to developers, how do you make it more appealing to them?
Right. Okay, and it's a perfect question. So these things cost money. What he wants to know is how do you make it more appealing to the developers,
The end user?
the end user, basically.
Yeah, it is a valid point. When you build the sustainable building compared to the normal building, it costs us more because we are using high performance facade, high performance pump, high performance, all the AC equipment, everything. So now majority of the MNC companies, I am into the commercial, this one. So they are aware, they are looking for green building only, but still when the non-green building will cost less for them, green building is high. I need to convince them how. Look here, even though the capital cost, the project cost is more at this point of time, you are going to gain after 3-4 years. Whatever you are paying the additional, the maintenance costs are very less because the energy cost, mainly the energy cost is very less. Maybe whatever the additional payment you are making now cost, that will the pay back in next 3 to 4 years. After 5 years, your full maintenance is, you are adding value to your organization. This is how we, with the broad calculation, we convince and we will be able to succeed it. Maybe 90 to 95% client, we would be able to convince them, we would be able to make it through. Thank you.
Thank you.
So before you ask the question, we are having difficulty hearing people. So if you could just stand up and come to the front.
Sure, I'll do that. My question is a bit technical. You had mentioned something about using fly ash as an alternate to cement, right? So could you clarify more on that, that how would just fly ash, because fly ash, we are into fly ash raw material trading, so that is used as an essential ingredient for manufacturing of cement. So I just want to know that how do you equate between the two, and how is that more sustainable? Because of course, owing to how the thermal power plants work, if we do not extract out the fly ash at a certain point of time, the power plants are going to collapse, right? So could you just explain that a bit more? Thank you.
So, fly ash is not a complete replacement to cement, but what happens is while the concrete is made or the recipe of the concrete is made, depending on the climatic condition, the consultant would give you a ratio of the admixture. With fly ash, there's a certain admixture which has to be added in terms of getting the strength, reducing the water consumption for curing, etc. So with cement industry now you have two grades, that is ordinary Portland and PPC, right? So whatever we use for concreting is OPC that we use. So in this OPC, what cement manufacturers have started doing is they've started increasing the content of admixtures and fly ash to reduce on the limestones. Yeah. So that is one aspect where they have started working with consultants and getting that ratio where your concrete strength is maintained, your building is stable, and it also helps in enhancing going towards the green building technology. Now, green building in India is a very wrong concept. They only feel that it's all about vertical gardening, etc. But green building is also about using your resources, recycled material, or how less in a lesser manner you can, hamper the natural resources available. So. I can share you the technical specs of this concrete that I'm speaking to. I have it on my WhatsApp. I'll share it to you after this session.
Thank you.
I will add some more point. I will add some more point to you. The cement, the usage of fly ash. Fly ash is the byproduct from the thermal power plant which cannot be used. So cement, raw cement only we are getting from the cement factory. While mixing at concrete at the site, project site level, we are just adding. So first we will do the trail mix. How much percentage, even though the IS standard will allow up to 35 to 40%, we will make the trail mix to get the strength, required strength as per the project requirement. Minimum 20% to 25% we can replace. That is into the concrete. Next, we are also making the concrete blocks. Those days, clay bricks we have to use it. Nowadays, we have replaced with the concrete blocks, which is again cement and the fly ash. Fly ash bricks also being used for the construction.
I just have a question to you. I mean, in the Egypt, is the government encouraging to build the green buildings, or any support from the government to the developers who are building the green buildings?
In Egypt now they are starting to. They're not doing the facilitations yet, but this is a solution or a suggestion. Yeah. We already know why the developers are not following and they're not using the green sustainable ways of building because of the initial cost. We're trying to find a solution to lower the cost or to make the customer more appealing for him to pay more to get a green building. Otherwise, you will be doing it as a developer yourself without the competition, and you'll be selling more expensive units, and you're not going to be selling them. The clients will go to the competition. That's why it has two axes. Educating the end clients, like the campaigns from the government has to tell them why to buy in green facility or a greenhouse, and it has to be facilitations from the government on the customs maybe, because most of those solar panels will be imported from the outside. Most of the windmills will be imported from the outside. So you will be doing it like it's not going to be that expensive, and the difference will be overcome by the end user after the campaigns. Now you know you're going to be buying this building to have the same quality of life for your children, for your grandchildren, the coming generations.
I have a couple of more questions to you.
Sorry?
I have a couple of more questions to you.
Sure.
One is, what is the cost increase for regular building and this green building, percentage-wise? Then the second one is, are the purchasers not preferring to buy this product? I mean, the apartments or whatever the buildings you are being, suppose you are constructing a green building, other person is not building.
I just will come to you because of the, yeah. Sorry. It's really echoing in there.
One is, what is the percentage of increasing the cost? Suppose if you are, $100 you are spending for a normal building. So for
First of all, I have to tell you, I'm not a developer. I'm a consultant, so I'm seeing it from the developer's point of view and from the customer's point of view. But numbers, I'm not the one buying the solar panels, old windmills. I'm suggesting a solution for a problem that we're seeing, that we're not making the best use of resources while doing it the traditional way. So, and we know that developers don't want to use the green way because it's not, for them, it's not cost efficient and will lead to increase in prices in the units. That's normal, that's common sense. We're trying to find a way to make the end client buy the new green building, sustainable building, whichever unit, commercial or residential, and seeing the value, why is he paying the money? That goes out of question, is going to be more expensive. The precise prices or cost, I don't have this piece of info.
why the buyer is not preferring these green buildings?
Because you're gonna, for him, if he's not educated, if you didn't give him proper campaigns for why is it important for the future, he's gonna see it as buying the same thing for more money, without knowing why is he paying more for the same exact thing. That's why the government has to put some policies or regulations on all the developers to do it at the same time, so you're not gonna be facing such competition. You know what I mean?
So there's a question at the back, Ibrahim.
Exactly, exactly.
There's a question at the back.
Sure.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk about, I don't know how this works in every country around the world, but I'm going to talk about how it usually works in Egypt. There's a big problem when it comes to trying to incentivize real estate developers towards green buildings. Because the way real estate developers usually see it, if I develop a normal building, it's going to cost me less. I'm going to charge the units that I'm selling, a percentage of that unit is going to be under the maintenance name. It's going to be labeled as maintenance fees. It's usually 8 to 10% of the entire cost of the property that I'm buying. And so this kind of creates a problem. The real estate from the real estate developer's point of view, the end cost, I'm going to develop my project with less cost, and the maintenance fees are on the end customer. So what I want to say is they don't really see it as something beneficial financially. Do you get my point? So what I'm suggesting, or what I want to ask you, do you think that in terms of sustainability and green buildings, should it be imposed by law, or is there a balance? Should we leave it open to real estate developers to make that decision for themselves, or should governments have a bigger role in imposing such regulations on real estate developers?
I personally vote for imposing those regulations because there has to be consistency. Like we can't have some people doing it, some people not doing it, or some people not doing it differently or in less ways or more ways. There has to be consistency. And what do you guys think?
Yeah, I would like to add, say imposing of policies is more important, because if we are talking about green building, etc., as far as the financials are concerned, the cost is concerned, if we educate our client of the advantages of the project or the green building that you're going to construct, I don't think that he wouldn't mind paying that extra bit of money, because it's, see, a person who's buying a home, it's not a short time, right? It's a long time. So that investment, if he's ready to, if you educate him and if you teach him the profits and the benefits of it, and in the lieu of how the maintenance can be reduced, etc., how the water consumption. So I think he wouldn't mind paying extra.
Can I follow up on this question? I agree that governments have a big role in terms of imposing regulations to drive developers towards green buildings and sustainability. I was wondering, do you have any ideas about which parts of sustainability or which parts of green buildings should we start with? Because you cannot impose all aspects of green buildings or all aspects of sustainability on any developed project all over the world at a given time. There must be priorities. So I was wondering, do you have any suggestions to what these kinds of priorities might be?
From my own point of view, it would be the energy, like something related to energy generation for the building itself. Energy now, we can see it everywhere in the world. Energy is a vital thing. If you manage to have a sustainable, durable source of energy that makes it less expensive on the long run for your usage, that reflects automatically in the utility fee that you're going to be paying each month. So it's a win-win situation. That's a starter. That's something that the client will accept immediately. And moving forward from here, we can go to the recycling from the source. We can go to the recycling of the water and use it for irrigation and so on. So I guess that's just me, but it's a start.
Amir, you had something to add? You have the last word.
I would like to add a few points on your query. When we discuss about the convincing the end user who is going to pay more, I'm going to put my product as grade A. Grade A, gold rated green building, then A plus platinum rated green building. So when we approach our client, he has to apple comparison. He cannot compare platinum to silver, platinum to certified. This is how we deal with our client. Say, look here, my product is, this is the grade A. You compare in market the same apple to apple. Then if any price increase or decrease, that we can manage. So this is how we put ourselves into the, how we are a grade A developer. This is how it is, number one. Number two, the government support, mainly majority of the high performance equipment, glasses, all those things we are importing. If the government can help, any government can help the importing duty and all, if they can reduce, definitely it will help developers to some extent reduce the cost.
I
Do we
have one question.
have time?
Yeah. So why can't we as a developer community go out to the government like auto community have gone, and how on electrical vehicles there is a tax subsidy which is given to people who are buying electrical vehicles. When we are building.
I'm sorry, can you be a bit louder?
So, can you hear me now? Okay. I'm saying how auto manufacturers have gone to government, and on electrical vehicle there is a tax subsidy which is given to people. Why can't we as developer community go down to government and say that if we are selling, sustainable building, customers who are buying it, can we pass on tax subsidies to them? That will help we as developers to sell better. The buyers who are buying will also see a value, and government support, rather than saying import duties coming down, etc., can be offsetted by these kind of stuff.
Absolutely. I think that is coming up, and it's in the US, it's widely practiced. I mean, you put solar panels, you get tax back from the government. You buy electric car, you get tax back from the car. It's pretty substantial. And I'm sure other countries have that too, right?
Yeah, so in India, generally the policies that are there, they do have some benefits from the government to the developer. As of today, it is not so viable because central policy, then you have the state policy, etc. So central policy and state policy in some states, like you are from Pune and Maharashtra, so we know that the policy of the center is not matching to the policy of the state, right? So there's a conflict between both the policies. So first thing is, like, as a federation, like CREDAI, so they have been speaking to the government. They are in talks with the government saying that we need a central policy which is applicable in all the states, so that each developer in each city or state can enjoy those and give those benefits to the client. Now, with the current government, they have taken this to the, I think, second round of talks. I think Mr. Reddy will be more. Yeah. Engine. Right. So, yeah, as Mr. Reddy, we have a tab, CREDA has a tab with NGBC, and for more, they're also talking about reducing the taxes on the imports of solar panels and the other construction equipments that will help in going for green building and sustainable buildings. It's in India, I think it's like you're taking baby steps. We have a huge population, 130 crore people, It's all baby steps, but with time, I think, yeah, we'll improve. We also ourselves as developers have to learn to take that ownership and not only rely on the government, is what I feel.
That's a perfect example of governmental contribution.
Sorry.
Sorry. IGBC is playing a big role. So most of the developers of especially Credai is converting into IGBC rated buildings. So in past 3 years, it's been substantial increase. So millions of square feet of buildings are coming into the IGBC. Yeah.
All right, thanks everybody. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And definitely, if you have other thoughts or opinions, catch one of us while we're outside. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.